What is Gucci YouTube? It's your boy Black. She got 3 long face, skinny body. We back, still black with some more fire Boruto anime, manga content. Not forgetting the video. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, smash the like button, share the video with your friends, and let's hop right into the business.
9 mountains and 8 seas make 1 world. 1,000 worlds make 1 chiliocosm. 1 chiliocosm to the power of 3, and there's nothing I can't cut.
So now that the Boruto anime is quote unquote, as y'all like to say, finally back, you feel me? Boruto Sundays, even though it's always been here, it's just that it wasn't hitting for shit really. But it's time to talk about, you know, some interesting aspects based off of the last point where the Boruto anime left off. Now, this is just me, like, I'm not sure too many people realize what they actually did here with the Boruto anime. The last time we know, it was after the Ishiki arc when the anime did manga canon material. And they did a little weird approach because essentially, and you see the thumbnail in the title, so it's nothing for me to hide it, but the Boruto anime has to, in its next canon episode, adapt scenes from chapter not only 55, but also 56, 57, and 58. Now that's 4 fucking chapters. Now in the sense of 55, they switched some things around and how that chapter initially happened in the manga versus the anime. So not necessarily adapting things from chapter 55, but there's small scenes that they could implement from that chapter. But even going into 56, 57, 58, now you may think like that's common sense. They're just going to have to go in order, adapt the next chapter. I'm saying that in this way because the last Boruto episode 220, and I'm even going as far as say episode 219 and episode 220, what they did was some weird ass shit. Or is it 220 and 221? Is one of the two. I know for a fact 220 is part of the mix. They adapted scenes from chapter 58, they adapted scenes from chapter 57, they adapted scenes from chapter 56, and they adapted, you know, scenes from chapter 55. Now, essentially in chapter 56 and 57, the get down of the real get down is focused and centered around Code. We know that in the anime, we did have Code's karma seal finally revealed to us. They cut short the whole little conversation that he actually had with him and Ishiki. So, you know, going into the contents of chapter 56, they skipped around that. We understand the Hokage summit took place in chapter, I believe, 57. The Hokage summit took place, and initially Amado discovered those pills and he gave them to Naruto to give to Boruto. Now, mind you, Boruto did not take those pills until chapter 58. But we have in the anime, you know, they flipped it all around. In one episode, they took scenes from chapter 57, meaning the Hokage summit. They also took scenes from chapter 56, a little bit of Ishiki and Code's conversation implemented into one episode, and then took things all the way from chapter 58 and threw all of that shit together into one episode. And it's just mind-boggling to me because now that we have, you know, Sasuke Resident arc going and then the Code arc announced to be returning, you know, shit that I would do, just go back, look over the manga, see like some of the material that we will be, you know, getting refreshed in our brains, and then, you know, possible add-on material similar to how they did in the previous times where the Boruto anime, you know, went in over and adapt the manga. And then it caught my attention. I'm reading chapter 58 and I'm like, well, this shit already happened in Boruto anime. But if I go back to chapter 56, we got a whole plethora of shit that haven't even occurred in the fucking anime. So how do they do that, right? They take things from chapter 57, 58, you know, they don't adapt anything, or basically most of the big things from chapter 56 and 57, they don't adapt none of that, but they take the Hokage summit, they switch around Boruto and Kabuki's conversation because they have an important conversation on top of the Hokage summit. Now with that, it's like they switched it because in the anime, they still had their conversation, even though it wasn't in the same place. They were on top of the hospital, I believe, or they were right outside. And the conversation completely went into a whole different direction. In the manga, Kawaki suggested to Boruto, hey, maybe you should place a karma seal on Code and then you could just revive through Code's body. And that was a whole thing right there, to the point where Kawaki was completely surprised and shocked at Boruto when he found out that Boruto just accepted Amado's pills instead of going along with their initial plan to plant the karma seal onto Code. So the anime scrambled a whole lot of shit. Even that whole little Naruto PTSD scene, having a panic attack holding Boruto, and Boruto's finally able to go to sleep. Mind you, beautifully done. I'm not gonna lie to you, the way that Boruto was able to take those pills in the anime versus in the manga, it was more emotionally impactful in the anime, so I would give them that. However, just in that whole regard, the whole entire Boruto taking those pills takes place in chapter 58, and it also takes place after the Kage Summit, which is in chapter 57 or 56, I believe. Now we understand in the anime, they went around that in the proper order where they had the summit, Naruto was introduced to the pills by Amato, but then Naruto had a whole bunch of different confrontations with the inner monologue of what should he do with this Momoshiki problem inside of Boruto before finally being confronted by Amato and then getting those pills and then having to have that conversation with Boruto. It was a very good played out scene, honestly, in the anime, but I'm really interested into how they're going to go about this because, yes, the next canon Boruto episode, they're going to have to start from, I believe, like the back end of chapter 55. Definitely, they're going to have to adapt the things that go down to chapter 56 because the explanation for code in the anime and in the manga was very different. In the anime, they had two different scenarios where it was Kawaki talking to Boruto about code and also Amato explaining how code is the last remaining member of Kara, having the Karma Seal, being ultimately stronger than Jigen and things of that nature. Now, in the anime, they went as far as to reveal that, okay, Code has his Karma Seal, he's the last member of Kara, and he's probably, not probably, but he is, one of the members that were stronger than Jigen when he was initially made. Amato was able to reveal all of that information, but the way they went about it, adapting all of that into the anime, it just leaves so much space and so much room for the things that happen simultaneously because we understand in that manga, when Amato was giving this, information on Code, at the same time, we get to see Code infiltrating Boro's hideout. At the same time, we get to see Code doing things that are basically like a lot of shit that people are a lot of looking forward to. And chapter 56 and 57 have the introduction of probably one of the most important characters currently in the Boruto manga. If you don't watch the manga, you just watch the anime, but has the introduction of one of the most important characters and the most important concepts that's currently like being the backbone of the Boruto story. And we go ahead and skip around all of that and just pick scenes from 57 and, pick the whole Boruto pill scene with Naruto and Boruto and from chapter 58 and just adapting that all into one episode. So I'm really intrigued, right? I just wanted to bring this to people's attention. How are they going to be able to go about, returning back to the anime? Because they're going to have to start off with Code fighting and making his way into Boro's hideout, right? They're going to have to pick up on whatever Ishiki was initially telling Code. They cut that conversation extremely short and find a way to deal with, how Boruto and Kawaki comes into that subtle disagreement that ultimately leads into the Team 7 training session and bled out into chapter 58, no pun intended. But just all in all, I'm really excited, but also at the same time, I don't want to say worried, but I'm just confused as to how they're going to go about this. Those of y'all who actually peep this, because I don't think this has ever been done in the Boruto anime to a point where like they take things from certain chapters and put them all into an episode before, but literally in the span of 4 chapters skipping around, basically a majority of 57 and 56 is gone. Nowhere to be seen in the anime. The Hokage meeting from 57 is there. The explanation from Code from 56 is there. Boruto taking the pills from 58 is there. And most of 55 is there. So it's really interesting how they're going to do this, especially with the fact that at that point, even going up into chapter 58, there's only going to be a handful, so much chapters that separates the current point in the manga from the current point in the anime, understanding that, the manga is definitely reaching a point where we can definitely possibly say time skip territory. That's a conversation for another day, though. But it's really interesting to see how the anime is going to be able to go about these, especially with the changes that they made the previous time with adapting the Boruto manga into the anime. But let me know y'all thoughts below, and how excited are y'all for the Code arc to return in February? It's your boy Black Child 3, long face, skinny body. Holla at your boy. I'm gonna holla at y'all, Black Child. Yes, sir. Ski.
Hey, can we take a trip to the sky? Show them that our limits too high. Cocoa butter hips on the west side. She said